Hey guys, Janet here, aka Gameonysus, and today we are reviewing GameFly, and for this review I brought along Edwin.
Hello!
And he is here because we shared the GameFly membership. He was actually the one that paid for the GameFly membership, but I used it also. And we kind of had that experience trying out GameFly together, so I thought it would make sense for this review to be kind of a discussion amongst us for you guys, talking about how we felt about GameFly. So we're going to start things off by explaining what GameFly actually is for those of you who don't know, or maybe don't know all the details, because I don't know about you, Edwin, but for me, I kind of always knew what GameFly was, and the elevator pitch was it's a place, you have a subscription online and you can rent games and keep them for as long as you want. And that was basically what I had heard.
I remember I've seen ads on TV kind of, oh man, before I was even interested, like you said. I'm not sure when GameFly was founded, but I feel like right away they had ads on TV and stuff. So I always kind of heard about them, but wasn't really interested. I think back when I originally heard about them, things like Blockbuster still existed, so it wasn't something that really interested me. But, we finally kind of bit the bullet and decided to sign up, and now I think we have enough months of information that we can kind of talk about it. So, yeah. Yeah,
so it's definitely really, at least feels really popular because it's very, in your face, at least from, me and Edwin's perspective. And they always have that, the ad I always hear, too, is, start your 30-day free trial, first month free. And I was like, and that's one of the things that also pushed us into getting it, because I was like, well, the first month's free, right? And we can maybe, trade off paying, though I never actually ended up paying it. So I had GameFly for free all the months. But one thing that, and this kind of almost dipping into criticism, it's the first month can be free, but there's different kind of packages you can select. So first, we're just going to start with the factual information. When you sign up for GameFly, you can do one of three options. You can do the one game or movie, they also have movies, out at a time for $9.50 a month for 3 months, and then after those 3 months, it's $15.95 a month. The second option is 2 games or movies out at a time for $13.50 per month for 3 months, and after that, it's $22.95 a month, and that's the one that me and Edwin had gotten. And then the last one, that one has the 30-day free trial. 1 game or movie at a time, 30-day free trial. And after that, it's $15.95 a month. So after that, it ends up being the same as, the first package, but you don't have, a few months cheap.
What they basically did is they kind of, I always use a term move the food in the fridge,
yeah.
Making the space. They basically made it so if you last the, let's say, first 3 months, their money's going to be the same. Mm-hmm. So you don't really get the free month. The only way that month is truly authentically free is if before the month's over you cancel.
Yeah. And
then you return it. Because if you stay for a couple months, they just charge you more the next couple months. And then if you lock in the first 3 months, they charge you less. But at the end of the day, at 3 months at $10 and 1 free month and 2 months at $15, that number's 30 both ways.
Yeah.
So again, the only way it's truly free is if you're like, hey, I'm gonna cancel, then it'll be free. If you keep going, it's gonna even out. It's like, well, I spent 30 in the first 3 months. Well, that's what the person who didn't get the free month also spent 30 in 3 months.
Yeah, so it ends up being basically the same thing.
It's kind of a wash.
Yeah, and then
it is a wash.
So that was kind of I think the first disappointment of GameFly, and then just to finish out the information.
What was really a disappointment for that too, full context at least for our experience, which probably won't be everyone's, and hopefully if you watch this, you can learn from our mistakes. Is that I thought I was gonna get the free month, and we clicked something wrong. That was just our mistake. Mm-hmm. But what happened was you get charged immediately. So it's not like there's no grace period. If you want to sign up and you say, hey, you know what? The $10 is fine with me. I'm good with it. Just know the minute you sign up and you put your information there, they take it out right away. So it's not when you get your first game or the next business day. It's like that minute. Because I checked my account when I told Jenny, yeah, sign up. And by the time I got to work, I'm like, wait, why did they take the money out? I thought you said free month. Then we looked into it and we saw. We accidentally clicked the wrong thing. Yeah. We were trying to use a coupon code or a promotional code that didn't work. Yeah. And then when it didn't work, they just applied the old thing and we kind of got screwed
kind of sloppy,
there. Yeah. But yeah, so just that's another thing too. Be careful if you money's tight or whatever. Don't even play around with the website as far as logging in and creating an account until you're kind of ready to go, because they charge you right away and it starts right on that date.
Yeah. The other quick facts about GameFly, it offers free shipping, so they ship your games to you for free, and when you send them back, that's also free. They do all the packaging stuff for you. You're basically putting it in and out of a little envelope.
Yeah, which they provide the envelope.
They provide all the stuff for you. You don't have to really do anything except for put it into a mailbox and take it out of your own mailbox. That's literally it. There isn't tracking for like when your games will get there because of like that's like a post office issue. It's not a GameFly thing. And certain like depending on where you live, you might have like that. It might ship faster. Like we live in Chicago, and they have like a little sign on the GameFly website that says like fast ship or something.
I think
and not every place has that.
Yeah, and not only is it not every place, I think certain games for some reason don't have it because I don't see it on all the options. Because if it was true that it was just in our area, well, every game would theoretically have that. Most do, others don't. That would have been a good idea to have emailed them and asked why. I'm not sure why. But yeah, I know it is subject to different things like region, maybe where the game is held compared to where you are.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the details, but some games do have that fast, do we call it fast delivery?
It's like
fast tracking, something like that.
I have a name for it.
Yeah, they come a little bit quicker, usually like 2 business days or something like that. So that's cool, but it's kind of hard to tell when or why that is on some games and not
and then
others.
You can keep the games depending on what package you have for as long as you want. That's it. Just keep them for as long as you want. And then the last thing is how you actually go about getting your game. So when you sign up, you have this thing called a queue, which makes sense. You're like queuing up the games, right? And it's basically a list of the games that you're interested in, and you can choose from a variety of platforms. They have Xbox One, Switch, PS4. Does it go farther back? Yeah,
yeah,
right?
they do 360, PS3.
I
don't think they go as far as we. I know they do 3DS.
Have Wii U, right?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
I don't know if I actually checked that. Well, weren't looking at Wii U games, so.
And they have 3DS.
Wii games. Yeah, they have 3DS.
Wii U, I'm sure they also have.
They have 3DS.
Yeah, they have 3DS.
Well.
Yep.
Probably
for those still playing
some other
3DS.
ones. Yeah, they have actually a really big selection of games. Anyway, so you load up your queue, and the way that it is said to work is that they're like, put your queue, and this is what they're kind of like saying their policy is. They're gonna go through your queue starting at the top, and they're gonna try to give you your first game at your queue, and if they can't do that, they'll give you like your second, and they'll move down based on availability. And when you add the games into there, it'll say high availability, medium availability, or low availability for the game. And that's basically how that works. And you can put games in there that don't even have a release date yet. You can put games that came out a long time ago. And that's pretty much it. Any other things about like how the service actually at least is positioned to work or listed as?
You can put games in your queue. They recommend you put 10.
Yes.
You can have as little as 1 or 2.
What's
but
the
obviously
max?
10. I believe 10
the
is
max
the max.
is 10?
Yeah,
Okay.
so they recommend you have those 10 in there. Because even though it's based on what you want, because of, let's say you put in, Red Dead. Red Dead's still a very popular game. If that's your number 1 game and your number 2 game was something that just came out, Far Cry New Dawn, right? Those both games might be out because how many copies do they get and what's the amount they have and the volume and everything. And since people can hold it for as long as they want, they can't promise it'll get returned. So because of that, they want you to have 10. So that way, it's very unlikely that all 10 of the games that you want are very low stock. So hopefully then their idea is they want to make sure you can keep on renting games. Yeah. So if you have a list of 10, there should be enough depth there that they can pick something out and give it to you.
And
even
as soon
if it's
as
not
they
your
get your
number 1.
game, like let's say I take out Kirby Star Allies and then I like send it back to them. As soon as they get Kirby Star Allies, they're gonna immediately send me something from my queue.
But once they know that you started returning it with the fast delivery, fast tracking, that gets scanned and they already know that it's en route. But yes, the other times they have to receive.
So that's kind of part of like their big goal is that you always have games, and it's just the games are just flying
right
off
because
the shelf.
they don't want you to have, obviously, because they also know that the consumer's not going to be happy.
Yeah.
If you're paying for a service and they're like, well, Red Dead's not available, then you're like, well, why am I paying $30? So they want to make sure that there's a good flow of games going back to you. But the negative of that is that you need to have those 10, and because they want you to have that to a game at any time, they'll definitely pick something that's way lower. Even if you're like, oh, I was really hoping for Red Dead, I would have waited 3 more days or something. They're like, we don't care. You're getting Planet Robo because it's on your top 10.
You will play these games.
The good news is you can see the availability and all that. In each game, it shows you what kind of the likelihood is. It's like, oh, it's low stock, or it's high availability, or medium availability. So they kind of let you know. So obviously, common sense, don't pick 10 games that are all low availability because that means you might still be in trouble. But, at least it gives you an option to know what's the realistic chance of me getting this if I put it on my list.
Yeah, and then kind of just speaking towards, like, why did we get the service? I think the appeal is a little bit obvious, but there's a lot of different things that I thought could work really well, and some of them do and some of them don't. One thing is that I'm like, okay, what's a way that we can play new games for a cheap price. Like, we can get out, you know, especially with the two of us sharing it, which isn't like, you know, that's just something we kind of decided. It's not built into the service. We just figured we live in the same place.
It's built in a little because we shared the one that had 2 discs.
Yeah,
so
well,
that allowed us to...
but they don't, like, market it like that.
Yeah,
you know
but that allowed us to share it where it wasn't like, oh, you know, Gameonysus, hurry up and play your game because I want to play the game. It's like, well, I can take out my disc and, you know, just return mine if I'm done.
The sharing was rough because we also shared the queue. It was one account, so it was kind of like...
So,
and, you know, it would have been, and we'll talk about this maybe towards the end, like, things we would have liked to see. It would have been kind of cool if they can... Yeah, that would be really cool.
Because then we could have 20 games in there, theoretically.
Yeah. 10 and 10, and maybe just make it, like, a slight extra fee to make it, like, official, like, $2 more or something. Because, like, Netflix has that, too.
No, they don't. It's not an extra fee for making more accounts.
Yes, there is. You have to have an account that lets you have multiple... Well, that lets you do multiple, like, Wi-Fi.
There are family accounts.
Login and stuff.
Yeah, but, yeah, I still think that wouldn't be a good idea. It's already so expensive.
Yeah, but anyway, we're getting kind of off track here. So, that's basically it. I thought it'd be, like, a way that, okay, we can just rent the games out, and when I need to, I can play a game really quickly if I know, like... You know, that's what it takes for me to get more games. Like, I've done rentals, like, in the modern era before. Like, I've talked about renting from Redbox plenty of times, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll just play the game in a few days and then send it back. And I thought GameFly was kind of perfect, too, because there wasn't quite as much pressure as, like, a Redbox rental where you're like, I'm getting charged for every day. Like, here, it's like, okay, we can play, you know, taste test stuff. We have the multiple discs. We can experiment more with games. And I just thought it would be a good way for us to... get a lot of gaming, and especially with the one we got, it's just like $13.95 a month for the first 3 months. So I'm like, okay, that's like the $13 is pretty affordable. But once I hit that 22, it kind of got a little bit ridiculous. So that was the appeal going in. Is there any other thing that drew you to the service before we actually ended up getting it and what we thought about it?
I think it's the same thing. I wanted to play more games, and I noticed that so many were coming out, it's hard to maintain. And then I figured there's some games I don't care about as much, but again, wanting to experiment, wanting to try a little more. If I was already paying a flat fee and just kind of could have access to new games or just even games that just came out that are still pretty expensive. We all know Nintendo games don't go down in price. So, you know, for example, if right now I wanted to play, you know, new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe or whatever it's called, it's still $60, and it'll probably always be $60 because Nintendo prices just don't go down. So if I'm already paying the $22 from GameFly, I could rent it from there. If it's like, oh, I just missed that, okay, let's play it. So that was kind of my idea. Is I could use it for like backlog Switch games I never bought or games I'm still interested in but haven't gotten to, and it could be a way for me to rent those kinds of games and experience them. Yeah.
So now going into our actual review of the service. So how long did we have the service for? Too long.
It was, I believe it started in October, so...
Definitely at least 4 or 5 months, I think.
I would say 5 to 6. So yeah, because we went past the $15 trial period.
Yeah.
And we got a few months of not the trial period. So I'd say 5 to 6 months.
Yeah, so... You know, we'll go back and forth kind of on our thoughts. But for me, I was overall disappointed in the service. And I felt like it didn't do what I wanted to do. And what it kind of says that it does. Which is you can play the, like... new and old releases. Old, I would say yes. But new, I would definitely say no. You can't guarantee that you're gonna... You can't really rely on it. It's not a reliable service for new games. Just because the games, for a number of reasons. One, they're kind of in higher demand when they're new. And there's also just no way... The queue is so random, there's not really a way to communicate to GameFly what you actually want as a consumer. Which makes it really, really difficult. Because, for instance, like Edwin said... As soon as you send them back a game and they see you're sending it, they send you something from your queue. So, like, how do you even time it to say, like, I want, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2, and it's coming out on Tuesday. When should I mail my game? And now you're kind of trying to hack the system almost, because if you, you know, if they get your game too late, they probably will run out of copies of Red Dead. If they get too early, they're going to send you something else, and then you're kind of trying to game that system.
Well, the other hack you can have, for that specific scenario, if you really wanted Red Dead so bad... only have Red Dead up there, and then when you return it, they're just gonna keep trying to give you that Red Dead until it's available. But like you said, the problem is with the low availability and how much the game's in demand. That still doesn't guarantee you get Red Dead. They could totally just be like, well, we already gave the 1,000 copies away, and you were 2,000th on the list,
or however many copies.
Yeah, I'm just making up a number that seems decently big. So yeah, then there you go. So even if because the hack, I know some people would say, well, why don't I just have the only thing in the queue? It doesn't promise you'll get it because if it's low availability, it's low availability. That means they don't have that many discs compared to the demand.
And especially, like, one of the cons of keep it as long as you want, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a big game. When are they going to get that back? And then how long, even if you try to hack it, how long are you going to sit there spending $15, $22?
Waiting to play Red Dead, you know.
You know, at that point, you could just save the $22 and pay the $60, you know, or just, and then... could you talk about what happened with Grip Combat Racing? Because it's another reason you can't get new games sometimes from them.
We had and
Mutant Football League.
Yeah, I think it was Mutant Football League specifically.
Yeah, I think it was that one.
I think Grip Combat Racing, it was
just a hard time.
As soon as it was available, I put it at the top of my list. It came out, I believe, in like November something for Switch, and I didn't get it, and it was my number one thing. I still had a couple things on my list, but
I feel like that one's not really, that doesn't seem like it'd be that.
It was pretty popular for a quick minute. The point is, I didn't get it. It was my top thing, and I didn't get it, so I was like, that was really frustrating. But I also had other frustrations. For example, with Mutant Football League, I was really looking forward to the game, and it was coming out to Switch Dynasty Edition, so I was really pumped about it. And then what ended up happening is they had a date, and then it got pushed back like another week. So again, you talking about what you're saying, I was trying to time it, put it at the top of my queue, make sure I had the space for the game, so I was ready to receive it. And then they would be like, and it was one of the times it was early. It was like, I'm gonna just make up some dates. I apologize, should have wrote them down at the time, but I'll just say February 8th, right? It was February 1st, and they said, February 8th, it'll be available. And then like on the 3rd, they would be like, it's February 18th. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, okay. Maybe something happened or whatever. And then it would be, I remember the one that was really egregious, it was the night before. It was like February, I'm making up the dates, but like February 17th. And then it was really the next morning. And then when I checked it that night, I'm like, all right, tomorrow morning I should have a chance. I check it, it got pushed back again. So I actually emailed GameFly and I told them like, hey, what's, I'm paraphrasing the conversation, but I'm like, what's going on? Like the date was this date and then it got changed and then it got changed again. What's happening? It got changed like 24 hours before it was supposed to come out. And then they basically, I'm paraphrasing their words, but they said that it's not up to them. It's up to the people who make the game. And if they decide...
Probably the publisher.
Yeah, exactly. Not the developer necessarily, but the publisher.
Sometimes they're the same. But.
Yes. And then it's up to them. And if they decide they want to hold on to the game and they're not allowing us to release it for distribution in a rental service, we can't. So that's what happened. It got held back again. And the reason why I'm pretty sure it got held back is because it was coming out on Switch. At first, it was the same date. Then it was a week back. And then it was a couple more days back. And then at that point, they worked because I actually bought the game. I was just like, I want to play it so bad. I already waited for it to come out on Switch. Then I waited for the release date. I waited for it. It got pushed back, double pushed back. When will it get pushed back again? And then when it does get released, will I even get it? So it actually did succumb to them.
So they won. They were?
Yeah, they won. I traded some games I had that I wasn't playing so I could get it for cheap. So I still got it for a cheap price, but I'm like, well, then what's the point of this service, man? And I understand that it wasn't their fault. I actually should be mad at the people who were making me buy the game because they weren't letting me use my other services. But that was the scenario with that. Same thing happened with Grip Combat Racing. They didn't push the date, but I never got it. It was too hot in the streets, so that was done. And I was trying to think of another game. That happened to me a couple times. Or I would just want... I never kind of got the main games that I wanted.
It just never worked.
I got the B things I wanted, like The Blob, and Steam World Dig 2, which
I got Kirby Planet Robot.
I know Steam World Dig is a great game, but I wasn't that interested. It was kind of in the back burner, but it wouldn't matter. I never got my top picks. So that was always frustrating. Yeah.
I felt like I had the same situation as well, and we obviously we kind of traded off on I'd have some of my games at the top of the queue, or Edwin would have some of his, but neither of us really got. I don't think I got a game that I was super excited about, and I had some things on there that I was really excited to play that I just never really got. A good example, though, is with their VR selection.
Oh, yeah. I put Tetris Effect on there for a minute. I'm like, I just want Tetris Effect.
But something else that kind of really bothered me, and I don't know what the explanation is here, and obviously it's hard to communicate what's going on in the back end with, users all the time. So, I do try to be understanding of it. I think what they're trying to do is hard. But the honest thing is, I don't think they did it well. I mean, maybe it's not possible to do. I don't know. But I had, Astrobot Rescue Mission in there for a really long time, and it was marked at high availability. So I don't know why I didn't get it. I had some games in there that were, Moss, I think, was low availability. And,
VR
high demand, or they don't have a lot of VR or whatever.
That many VR games.
But, I just hadn't... I just couldn't understand like why I wasn't getting this game if it said it was high availability, and I felt like it said that for a really long time too. So that really bothered me, and I still haven't played that game. I'm just gonna have to buy it. So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of other like specific things that bothered me with the service, or that maybe I liked about the service to kind of speak to. But overall, I just felt like, you know, I didn't really get what I wanted out of the service, and I also really, you know, once again, I don't know how much it costs to run GameFly, so I'm not trying to say they're like, you know, being greedy or something, but I found the $22 to be pretty steep. Like at $22 a month for something is no longer, I feel like, especially in the modern era with having so many subscriptions, like I feel like that's very high for a subscription service, and especially for it to have this many flaws.
Yeah, we talked personally about how
15's okay. 22 is a lot.
In the modern era, your money goes farther, and we're a lot stingier with, you know, spending it. You know, Netflix can be as low as like $9, $15. Yeah. You know, HBO is like, I think, $10. Disney is releasing their own app. They said it's gonna be cheaper than Netflix. ESPN Plus is $5. So that starts to add up. You start to end up spending $100 on subscriptions. We're basically back to, you know, cable when it comes to TV. Mm-hmm. Video games doesn't have that necessarily, but it does. If you are a gamer who likes to play games online on your PlayStation and Xbox, and then you have Game Pass, you might be spending like $30, $40 a month having PlayStation Plus, Xbox Live with Game Pass, and then your Switch, you know, I mean, that's just $20 a whole year, but it adds up to like, you know, a lot of money. To add GameFly to it, I know it's physical, and I love physical media, so I want to support that, and I like the idea of GameFly. I really do, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm ready to get hurt again. I'm definitely gonna go back to GameFly at some point. I can pretty much guarantee that, but it's just very frustrating because it doesn't work for what I wanted to do, which was get the games that I wanted, and it wasn't even like a lot of times I didn't even get my first, second, or third pick. I got like my 6th, 7th, and 8th. I feel like
honestly, it's only from my experience or our experience. I feel like it was only good for last gen games.
So yeah, so my
I feel like I could count it. We had Mafia 3.
Yeah, my overall Mafia 3 was a fun one.
I got Curry Planet Robobot. I did get like a modern game. I got Shibuya Scramble, but like, you know, I feel like if you're looking for the hits you missed, then it could be okay.
I feel that the price is
if you're trying to keep up with the Joneses.
The price is a lot for it, but I will say this: if you are a gamer, and I was this gamer, 3 years ago. If you're a gamer who missed out on a lot of the last gen, and you have ways to play it, like for example, you got a 360 or you got an Xbox One, you just got it, like you literally just bought it like this year, and you're like, hey, I haven't picked up any of the games because I took forever to upgrade from the 360. I was fine with it. Then you know what? Maybe GameFly, maybe a combo of, I still say Game Pass would be better. Maybe a combo of Game Pass, GameFly. You spend $30 a month, and you're like, I'm only gonna get games that are available on GameFly and available on my Game Pass. That might be a better option for you. Or same thing, you had a PlayStation 4, you just bought it, it's like $200 right now, it's like cheap, and you're like, hey, I got the PlayStation 4 and it came with Spider-Man, like I've been out of games for a while. GameFly, again, might be a good option for you. Get PlayStation Plus, try not to buy anything else, which should be good because Sony's not releasing any games this year, so you're in good shape. That's why they left E3, because they got nothing to show. So great news, you can just skip E3, play the games that are free on PlayStation Plus, use your Game Pass, pick up, God
of War, Horizon Zero Dawn,
God of War, thank you. All those Sony exclusives, and then...
I mean,
they were Sony exclusives,
No, I mean just like with the
Ratchet and Clank, stuff like that. But yeah, if you can, if you just go hard, I think then that's when it'll be okay. If you think of 10 exclusives and you got it like that. But if you're a person who's already in the know and you're really aggressive with your gaming and you know what games are coming out and you're trying to play them,
you love playing games when they come out. Like for me, like
unfortunately, I feel like it just makes it just they've made it so it's too hard for that person, kind of like the Uber gamer, to like and Uber is in like super gamer, because some of y'all might think I meant like an Uber of gaming, because that word's changed what it means lately with car services. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you're like a super gamer, hardcore gamer, maybe GameFly might not be for you, because unfortunately they're not gonna be able to keep up with the current releases if that's what you're trying to do. If you're trying to work on a back catalog, you're like, you know what, I've been meaning to play Breath of the Wild. That actually might be a good idea at this point, because they probably do have enough copies and people aren't using it as much. Or Mario Odyssey, like if you're kind of behind and you want to catch up that way, you kind of have like a back catalog of games you haven't played and you want to buy. it might be good for that. But if you already feel like you only want this service for upcoming games, I got bad news. It's a roll of the dice.
And I feel like, honestly, at the $22 price point especially, yes, you can keep the games for as long as you want. But at that point, it kind of gets to, you have to kind of know this going in, like, if you can kind of handle it in terms of the finances, because I kind of want to get a lot of bang for my buck. So honestly, as soon as the GameFly game came in, I'm like, it's time to play this GameFly game and then send it back and then get more games. So it kind of does become like this. Let me game so much so I can like
it's
make
like the gaming
money
gym,
off of it. Yeah, it's like it is the gaming gym.
You have to use it, and then it feels like there's pressure, and then you're like, why am I paying for this?
And towards the end of our time at the gaming gym, we didn't even use it. Like we just kind of stopped using it because I don't know. I didn't feel like using it, and it was just, it didn't really. If it did what I wanted, I think I would have been a lot more into it. But yeah, in summation, I feel like there's some issues with the service, and that it just generally doesn't do what I want it to do, which is to be able to keep up with modern games as they release. Quick thing I want to add too, I really don't like how there's like a lot of little things I would like to see changed in GameFly. One of them is like, I own multiple platforms. We own multiple platforms. I would like to be able to express that. Like, get me like Resident Evil 2 on Xbox or PS4. I don't care. But instead you would have to put those in individually.
Oh, right.
There's a lot of like little quality of life things that I feel like could be tweaked that might help them with some of the complaints I have. I understand that there's probably limitations on their resources and what they have, but I feel like there's got to be a better way for me to express what I want. It's got to be a better way for me to express what I want out of the service, and for GameFly to be able to give me that. Any other?
Yeah, so that's it. Let us know what you think. Do you use GameFly? Do you use another service? Is there something in your area? Is it not in your area? How do you handle trying to game more on a budget where you don't just pay $60 for every game? And have you used GameFly? What'd you think of it? If you didn't, are you considering it now? Do you have a back catalog? I'd love to hear what people think about GameFly, their experience with it, or if they'd want to do it. I hope we haven't been too negative. I do like the company. I did end my subscription. I ended it like this weekend.
Oh, I mentioned that too. How when you ended, what happened?
Oh, when I ended it, they really did what the classic, everyone's always trying to keep you. So they were like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?"
They asked like literally cool 4 or 5 times.
And then at the end, they gave me an offer for a free month. They're like, "Hey, you want to leave? Why leave? Just free month, man." And it broke my heart because I didn't want to leave them, but I had to because it doesn't work for me.
He got very graduation goggles about it. I went to help him cancel, and he's like, if you weren't here, I would just keep it.
Yeah, I would have definitely got the extra month and tried to get, Tetris Effect one more time. So definitely I want to let people know I'm not anti-GameFly. It just didn't work for me. Hopefully it works for you, and hopefully maybe I saved you a couple bucks by, not avoiding it, or at least now you have a good strategy going into it.
Yeah, I think it's good to go in with, like, more tempered expectations. Like, this video, one reason I wanted us to make it is, this is the stuff I wish I knew more about before going into GameFly, and I think it would have maybe helped the experience at least be better, because I wouldn't be going in with like unrealistic expectations of the service. So like Edwin said, leave us a comment below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and before we head out, Edwin, do you want to plug your channels and stuff you do?
Yeah, I'm E Plays Chords on YouTube. So just look up E Plays Chords, Edwin Garcia Music. I come up right away. On my YouTube channel, it's more music based. I'm actually a musician here. That's what I do for a living. So I just started on YouTube, I think in November, October, something like that. So I've had a couple months here. I'm still just learning how it all works and getting fans and all that stuff. So I would really appreciate a sub because I don't have that many yet. Just getting started. How many
subscribers do you have?
I think like 25 or something like that.
Yeah, we want to get Edwin to 100 so he can get
custom URL.
The custom URL.
I'm starting to climb. For anyone who's wondering, oh well, you just started. Trust me, I'm in it for the long haul. I want to do videos kind of forever at this point and really want to build it. Just like Jenna said, this is a GameFly video for that she wishes she had for other people. I want to do the same thing. I want to let people know what it's like to be a musician. I want to give my insights into music. For you gamers out there, I'm a gamer myself, as you guys know. I love video game music, and I want to also do more compositions for video game music. But beyond that, you're going to hear the music I make, the video game music that I make. I have a podcast on my YouTube channel called VGM Podcast, where I take a deep dive into a different soundtrack, and I look at like 3 or 4 songs from that soundtrack, and I talk about what makes them good, what makes it cool and fun to listen to. So hopefully it gives you a little more in-depth insight into the music you already like. And besides that, I have just other, pickup videos, vlogs, all types of music-based stuff that I think anyone who likes music and likes video games, you're going to see that it really meshes well, and it's a fun time. So please subscribe, check it out, and of course, make sure if you're not subscribed to Gameonysus, you do that, hit the bell so you can get all the notifications on all her videos. I'm on here every now and then, so if you like that, great, because I'll probably be on here again. And if you hate me, don't worry, because I'm not on here that much. So it all works out.
So yeah, be sure to check out other videos that Edwin's in. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we will see you here next time. Bye.
Bye.